Take a walk down the street and count the number of advertisements you see. With so many brands and companies competing for your attention, advertisers have to work harder than ever. One popular method of engaging consumers is by holding competitions where consumers come up with their own commercials or slogans. The ironic part about my dedication to conserving fresh water is my love for its salty cousin. Don't get me wrong. I love exploring rivers, lakes, and waterfalls, and I know that fresh water is our most precious and limited resource on Earth. That alone is enough reason to be dedicated to preserving it. The Melbourne Zoo is incredible and it attracts children and natural lovers. It will keep your children entertained for a long time. To make a booking, you will need to visit our web page. There are many packaged tours at a discounted price. If you book online, you will receive a 10% discount and can select an option to avoid long queue lines. The work visa to Australia operates using a point-based system. If you have enough points, you will be granted the visa. You need at least 60 points in order to apply. You will get the majority of points from your university, where you have completed your course. The first thing that the government should do is to widen the roads with immediate effect, and that can definitely reduce the problems drastically. Another area that the authorities can look into is to engage a big company to construct roads that can last for a long period of time. The Challenger Games are designed to help people to be active and get fit. In practice, they were invented to encourage old men and women to get more exercise and to give them a chance to meet other people. Regular physical activity helps to maintain energy, strength, and flexibility. Travel in the Australian outbreak can also be a sort of revenge on mobile phones and emails, on smartphones and the newspapers. We are on the edge of globalization that allows anyone who chooses to get into contact with you. On the other hand, I desired to be unobtainable. I was going to the outback for the best of reasons, as easy as it sounds, simply to disappear. The city council drives economic development and impacts into country's economic progress. Many diverse employers and institutes have a constitution to hire immigrants. Additionally, cultural diversity itself is sufficient to bring a sustainable future to the new policies. Smoking is the worst threat to health, and it's self-inflicted damage. I have colleagues who were reluctant to treat smokers. If you want to stay well, stay off tobacco and smoke in all its manifestations. Our department has recently completed a survey of men's health. We looked at men in different age groups and occupations, and we came up with a disturbing insight. The magical term opal stone has been adopted by an environmental protection organization and is more likely to be accepted in the context than as an authoritative cultural artifact. The term is also used as a metaphor for anything that is vital to withdrawing a difficult problem. Foam-filled furniture is very dangerous if it catches fire, and foam quickly produces a high temperature, thick smoke, and poisonous gases. including carbon monoxide. Therefore, set levels of fire resistance have been established for new and second-hand upholstered furniture and other similar products. The starting point of Bergson's theory is the experience of time and motion. Time is the reality we experience most directly, but this doesn't mean that we can capture this experience mentally. The past is gone and the future is yet to come. The only reality is the present, which is real through our experience. It is important to note that saving is not the same as investment. Saving is about cash, while investment is about the real product. The difference is important because of money, being liquid, can leak out of the economic system, which it does when someone who is putting aside unspent income keeps it under the mattress. For the first 2 or 3 years after the Second World War, a new title would often sell out within a few months of publication. However, unless public demand for the book was unusually high, they were rarely able to reprint it. With paper stocks strictly rationed, they could not afford to use up precious paper or tie up their limited capital with a reprint. The Atlantic coast of the peninsula can be thought of as the cold side, and the sea on this coast tends to be clear and cold, with a variety of seaweeds growing along the rocky shoreline. On a hot day, however, this cold water can be very refreshing and is said to be less hospitable to sharks, which prefer warmer waters. All the works of art shown in this exhibition were purchased on a shoestring budget. The criteria that the curators had to follow were that works must be acquired cheaply, appeal to a broad range of tastes, and fit with unusual environments. Thus, many of our better-known modern artists are not represented. There are many kinds of pond, but nearly all are small bodies of shallow, stagnant water in which plants with roots can grow. Water movement is slight and temperatures fluctuate widely. The wealth of plants ensures that during daylight hours oxygen is plentiful. However, at night, when photosynthesis no longer takes place, oxygen supplies can fall very low. Before the time of Alexander the Great, the only Eastern people who could be compared with the Greeks in the fields of science and philosophy were from the Indian subcontinent. However, because so little is known about Indian chronology, it is difficult to tell how much of their science was original and how much was the result of Greek influence. While far fewer people these days write letters and therefore have less use for stamps, there are still a few categories of stamps which attract collectors. Stamps in common use for an indefinite period, until the price goes up, are called definitive issues, while a more collectible type of stamp is the commemorative issue, honoring people, events, and anniversaries. Australia has one of the world's most important mining industries. It is a major exporter of coal, iron ore, gold, and copper and is self-sufficient in all minerals bar petroleum. Since the first discoveries, the coal in 1798, mineral production has risen every year in the decade to 1992 it doubled.